you could, would you leave? Pack your bags, go to California.
Since I'm in Turkey, I decided to come back to the gym I was going before I came to UCLA. And since I was back, I was able to get a body measurement again, like one of those measurements. I don't know what they're. Oh, it's called an body composition analysis thing, and it's quite clear that I have failed in all my fitness goals for 2017. So in this video I want to talk about failure and how, if you reflect back on that, you could get to a better place and how it is not actually a waste of time. So coming into 2017, I would say my fitness goals were to first build some muscle and put on some size, but I would say my major goal was to increase my vertical and hopefully get on track to dunk the basketball, and that has been one of my childhood dreams. And I don't know, I just think it would be cool to be able to do that. I'm like 6 foot, so if I put in enough work I should be able to dunk the basketball, but if I don't, then I don't really stand a chance, considering that I don't have athletic genetics, so I don't have an athletic build if I don't work out. But those things didn't really happen, and while I will be comparing my measurements and telling you guys what actually went on and how the year was as a whole in terms of my workout goals. I had my last measurement in the July of 2016, right after I did like a really intensive program to build muscle, and it went really well. And I had this measurements on December 2017, and in between those measurements I lost 4.5 pounds of muscle and gained 1.5 pound of fat. So I did lose weight, but it wasn't actually good that I lost that weight because it was the muscle I lost, and I did gain some fat. My fat ratio is higher right now than it was in July of 2016. So first, when I got those results, I was really bummed out because I did technically work out for the whole year, but when I decided to take this as a measurement of how I was tracking my workouts or how I was putting in the work, I realized how things could have gone in this direction. So during that time span, I did go to the gym regularly. I tried to work out 3, 4, 5 times a week depending on the time. But firstly, I either ate too much, so that's how I gained fat, or too little. Like in my after July, I started eating a lot when I came to the US, and then I ate a lot during fall. But while I was staying there for winter break, we only had 2 meals per the day, so I didn't eat as much, so I did lose some weight there. And then in winter, I was eating okay, like that part was regular, I think. And I needed to have a knee surgery in spring. So after the surgery, I did cut down my food, and over the summer, I was in San Francisco, and the food was so expensive that I I mean I did eat, but it wasn't like regular. Sometimes I would eat too little, not in order to not pay for food a lot, and I would try to make my own food. So once you make your own food, it's less calories, and it's actually really hard to keep in those calories. So I did end up losing weight there as well. Well, coming back to the knee problem, I did have some knee issues when I was in senior year of high school, um, and in winter quarter of my first year in college, I again had some issues on my right knee around like February, so I had to get some. I mean, I didn't have to, but it was better if I got surgery, and it would be better long time for me, and I would still be able to play basketball. So I did have a knee surgery around May, and from February to mid July, I did like go to the gym when I could. I did go regularly for like a really long time, but I couldn't work out as I wanted to. I would just do arm stuff, which would really annoy me because I don't want to be one of those people in the gym. But so that was one of the things which hindered my progress, but I'm not gonna blame it all on that as well. Looking back, another thing I realized is that sometimes I would gain weight, and maybe that was muscle, maybe it was strength, like it would help me get stronger. But since I used to be really overweight throughout high school, I realized I did have some issues when I gained weight. Like it was hard for me to accept that I would be I would have more weight because I just feared I would get fat again, I guess. And now I'm more self-aware in that aspect. I would eat really healthy. I wouldn't eat any crappy food. Now if I really want to eat dessert, I do, but that's something I need to get better on in 2018. If I really want to build some muscle, I should be fine with getting a little more fat because it's the bulk season and we need to get those muscles for the beach season and then cut right before the beach season to get the girls. On a more serious note, I do need to get comfortable with that and track the food I eat better or eat intuitively better. And also the same for my workouts. I didn't really track my workouts in terms of progress for the first half of school after I came to UCLA until like winter or the end of fall quarter. I didn't really track them, even though I did try to increase weights. I didn't have like a mathematical system on how I would increase my weights, and that didn't really help me with making some progress. And the program I was doing before I got my first measurement in July 2016 was really extensive, and at that time working out was the only thing I had to do in a day. I could literally waste the whole day if I wanted to, except working out, because I didn't have school and I was admitted to college and I didn't want to do any prep work. So it makes sense that was like a better measurement, but I'm kind of sad that I didn't make any progress and actually lost progress. I think that's the issue that I needed to reflect back on. So I don't really like making New Year's resolutions, but it just turned out to be my measurement just turned out to be around New Year's, and I do want to have some goals for my next measurements and have some things in mind that I need to get better at. So I looked back on what I was doing when I was going through that intensive workout program and took down some notes. So firstly, I would say the hardest part for me would be that I need to accept that I'm gonna gain some fat while putting on some muscle and be fine with it. Like saying that, I think I will be fine with it, but it's always a different experience when you say something and when that thing actually happens to you. So this video for me is like a reminder for myself, and if I ever think oh, I'm getting fat, I should stop, I'm gonna look back on this and be like, bro, you said it was the bulk season, man. Of course you're gonna get fat. Another thing for me to focus on is to do good stretches, good warm-ups before my lifting, because my right knee still kind of hurts sometimes after or during workouts, not as much, but it's still not 100%. So I want to make sure that it's safe and I don't get injured again, because if I do get injured again, that's gonna hinder my progress even more. And I don't I enjoy going to the I enjoy going to the gym. It helps me mentally and physically, and I wouldn't be the same person that I am if I couldn't go to the gym for a while. So I would say for my overall health, I do need to keep things healthy. Man, did they just say for my overall health, I need to keep things healthy? Does this guy even speak English? Come on. Another goal I have for 2018 is to eat more natural food. Like, I do eat healthy and I do get my micronutrients through vegetables, but sometimes I realize I eat too much like protein bars or other stuff that can substitute for what you need in calories or like macronutrients, but aren't necessarily as good. I'm not saying it's wrong to like eat them. I'm just saying when I ate natural food, it worked out better for me. So maybe it's time to go back and do that same thing again and see how that goes. And my final goal is to do more cardiovascular training to increase, to actually be athletic, because in my opinion you should not train for looks, you should train for performance. So I do want to make sure that I'm a good athlete overall. I want to spend this year building frame, adding on some muscles so that in 2019 I can focus on what specifically I want to do, like powerlifting, bodybuilding, weightlifting, or whatever I would be in the mood for that year. And I released this video firstly because I want to see if I actually reach my goals, and I need something to look back on when I'm not as motivated, and sometimes when I'm ahead of myself in terms of thinking. But I also wanted to show you guys how you could walk through what you see as failures and realize that they're in your life for a reason. And you can only realize why you failed if you reflect back on how you failed. And it is really important to do. I would say, like most things, the hardest part is to accept that you failed, because it's not something that makes you proud of yourself, and like you may not even know why you failed at first. Like, I didn't know. I was like, wait, how did this happen? Like, I worked out for the whole time. How could I lose my gains and gain some fat? That doesn't make sense. But once I looked more into the issue, I realized there were things that I did wrong and I could have done better. And even though on paper this last year in terms of workouts was a complete waste, I learned how to keep my body safe. Like, my physical therapist taught me how to do the main lifts properly to make sure like my knee was okay and my form was good so I wouldn't get injured. I learned a lot from the workout partners I trained with, especially my coach Tracy. So it wasn't a waste like it seems, and that's how most of your failures are gonna be. At first you're gonna get the result and you may not like that, but when you look more into what went on and how the process as a whole came out, you'll see even if it looks as a failure on paper or maybe on something else, maybe it's a mental failure to you, it's not actually something that means you wasted that amount of time. It's just something you had to go through so in the future you can make progress even faster and everything would work out well for you. So in the end, failure is a way of learning, but you can only learn that way if you are attentive towards how you failed. And that's the biggest takeaway, I guess, from this video in terms of what I have to say. Well, I guess we're at the end of the video, and I've been talking for the whole video, so if you made it this far, thank you so much. I hope the video helped you in some ways. If you had some workout issues or didn't make the progress that you wanted to make, or had some issues, went through injuries, gained some weight, lost some weight, whatever you want to talk about, please mention it down in the comments below. I'm always open for people discussing about things. That's mainly why I have this channel for. I want to promote discussions. And thank you guys so much for giving me a bit of your time so that hopefully I can make a bigger portion of your life better. And as always, take care.